And I remember finding it and just going, yeah, we have to do the green slime. And it has evaded me every single time.
I appreciate you taking some time to chat about the Mega Turkey Day Marathon coming up. From when we're talking, it's a week away. So exciting. And this starts on Thanksgiving morning, starts on Thursday morning. But it doesn't just go for like 24 hours. You're going 2 full days this year.
It's really true. It is the Turkey Day Telethon Marathon Telethon. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, we needed to, because it's to put focus also on our fund drive for season 14. And right. So we just felt like it would go naturally as, we had so many curveballs thrown our way this season, what with the writer's strike and the Screen Actors Guild strike. And it was really tough to kind of we've been kind of intermittently having to push it back over the last 6 months because of these things going on. And so we were able to, we're really grateful we were able to finally get the word out and get going on it. But it was a kind of staggering movement to get it launched, because of the curveballs we got throughout the last 6 months, basically.
Wow. And I appreciate you sharing about that too, because I think a lot of times people don't recognize how deep that kind of disruption can go, because they see, oh, my favorite Marvel movie is not filming right now. But what they don't see is like, well, yeah, my favorite, smaller budget production, that I enjoy. That's not happening either.
It's really amazing, and especially the stakes that are at work too with AI and people just going, how do I feel about this? How do I really feel about people taking their hands off content? And what is it then? Is it what we want? Because in my mind, that's what everyone aspires to, is making. You know what I mean? And if you stop doing it, is AI going to take the fun out of making for people? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's an ongoing thing, or I'm anxious to see how it will, people who are suggesting it will make it better, but I'm just really curious what that would be. But of course I'm really interested in it too. But what is so you know what I mean? The Screen Actors Guild especially, or both of them actually were talking about AI. Both of them were, and you could see the implications of it and how, wanting to try to have an opinion and try to control that seemed like a really good idea. Because it's the most fun part, right? It's making,
yeah, right.
It's making. So it's like, do we want to remove that from our list of things to do in our lives, right? Do we want that removed and have something else do that for us? It's just a funny question, I think,
Yeah. Do you ever feel like you're living in the kind of movie you would screen on Mystery Science Theater?
That's a great idea, I think I would naturally say my life isn't interesting enough to be a movie on Mystery Science Theater. I think that, as tragic as that sounds.
Sure. There's no crazy giant monsters or
no. It's just it's not that. It's not any monsters that you can see.
Fair enough. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
I'm curious, after all these years, do you have any like white whale movies? Is there anything left that you're kind of like, I've always wanted to get this one and never been able to?
Yeah. One movie, let me just write this down. It's 2 parts to this. So, yeah. Okay, yeah. So, I think there is. Number one was the very first movie that I used as an example for movie riffing. And we did that in kind of a proof of concept tape that we made. And mostly what I was interested in is showing production wise how we'd go from the theater and back and forth, the doorway, all those moments, right? Like that to me was the thing that was the most unusual about MST. And if people could follow that, they'd understand the rest of it. So within that, at the local TV station, the movie that I really wanted to use, which was The Green Slime, which is one of the great schlocky science fiction movies that was ever made. And so I remember that as a kid, and I remember finding it and just going, yeah, we have to do the Green Slime. And it has evaded me every single time because mostly because Toho doesn't really like what we do and doesn't really like the premise, and that's interfered or not interfered. It's their prerogative. They're their properties. So we would never want to do it with people who don't want us to do it with them. So we've had to, I think we were able to release, through a unique licensing situation, we were able to release a Gamera movie last season. I think it was last season. Yeah. And so those are hard, but Toho does not want us to do Green Slime, and that's my Moby Dick.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Part of it. The other part I wanted to mention though was a movie that fell out of our library that we haven't been able to get, which is Final Sacrifice. And that was a movie that was just a loved Mystery Science Theater, a really great movie to start with. You know, these movies at the end of the day ultimately they're usually kind of adorable in their own way. And this movie is one of those movies. And the filmmaker doesn't want to use the MST version, doesn't want to license it. And that's their prerogative too. Sure. I would never want to make them do something they didn't want to do. But that's the great white whale of the ones that are out of the library that people love.
Right on. Well, listen, fingers crossed, hopefully one day.
Yeah.
That could happen. I want to tell you, Mystery Science Theater 3000 is something that I watched a lot with my brother when we were kids. It was definitely a bonding experience for the two of us. And I can still vividly remember going to see the movie in the theater and our parents letting us go watch Mystery Science Theater 3000, the movie, while they went and watch something else because they weren't into it. But it was such an incredible experience. And I realized, reflecting on the series, rewatching some episodes before our conversation, that the Mystery Science Theater 3000 for me never made me think of a film as bad. I never watched any of these shows, any of these movies, and thought they're making fun of a bad movie. And I'm curious about your perspective on that, because for me, it is all tribute and homage. I don't think anybody sets out to make a bad movie on purpose. And I don't think that really what Mystery Science Theater 3000 has been doing all these years is mockery. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's the mockery version, the super cynical version is kind of the coloring book version of Mystery Science Theater. It's really not that. It's really it's like I call it like a variety show built on the back of another show, right? So we just kind of nestle in there and kind of start working the material, whether we're creating sketches about content that's in the movie, or we're just kind of observing and riffing on the movie and speculating about things that the movie's talking about. So I feel the same way. I think it was always, naturally now on the internet, there's people that are so cynical that do what we did, and you can see them doing really well with kids that are like 11 years old, because they go, that's the as dark as it can go. And so I think our thing is more broad. It's more for families or people who have families, it's like not just, or friends and families, right? So it's kind of meant to be shared, and we can't be, that's kind of the trick, is the reason, that's the secret of our success, is we're not. And so I think those are the pieces that go together that make it. But I'm really glad you had those experiences, because that to me is all the moments that I had with certain TV shows, certain movies, even certain periodicals and comic books. You share them, like Mad Magazine, right? You share them with people, and you have this kind of bond. Like we used to hang out in my friend Mark Manny's basement and play pool and look at Mad Magazine, and and listen to music. And so it became this kind of den of ideas and thinking and goofing around. And so I'm so glad you had that experience. That's cool.
Thank you. And what you're talking about there and those experiences that you share, that touches on kind of what I wanted to get to next is you have the fundraiser. So for fans, they can go to showmaker.mst3k.com to check that out. And I wanted to ask, do you find that doing the fundraising, the crowdfunding option on the show, that structure, do you find that has been really beneficial for the Mystery Science Theater 3000 community of fans?
I think so. I think it started, I got a theory about this, and we really early on, I think the first season, we started to learn that we were on an obscure cable network, and it only was clearing part of the country. It was like, I don't know how it all worked. It was almost like there was a big cable group on the west and a big cable group on the east, and they hadn't merged yet. And so you could get our show in half of the country. And we were learning that people were videotaping it and sending it to their friends and sending it to like people in the service, right? Like you got to see this show. So it was kind of the nexus of when cheap videotape and cable kind of met, and FedEx. If you blend those together, it turned our fan base into distributors for us, even though we didn't make money on the transaction. All they did was send it to their friends, and it was so early that we didn't know that would hurt the bottom line if people felt free about doing it. But it was kind of too late. And so the growth of it kind of had to do with people at the time. We used the term, we created a campaign that was called Just Keep Circulating the Tapes. We were telling people in the credits, if you want to send this, and it worked kind of like the Grateful Dead did when they encouraged people to record at their concerts. It just said, you can control this. If you want someone to see a TV show, you can send it to them. And it really worked for us. And so I think that spirit was in the fundraisers we've done. The fundraisers were this invitation to go, if you want to, you can help us do this. There's no pressure. We never put pressure on people. It's just, if you want to, come and help us. We're not going to make you feel bad if you don't do it. It reminded me of that amazing campaign they used in National Lampoon, buy this magazine or we'll kill this dog. Do you remember that? It's like pulling a gun to a dog's head. So funny. But anyway, it's no pressure on people. And I think that you queued up where they can get the information, showmaker.mst3k.com. We said that.
Yep.
I don't know. So anyway, that's my story. Anything else? How are we doing on time?
No. Say that again.
How are we doing on time?
We're good. I think it's time to wrap up. But I want to thank you so much for taking time to chat. I want to make sure I say that MST3KTurkeyDay.com is where people can go to find out about where the show is streaming, what streaming services, where they can find it, all that good stuff. Joel, it's been an honor. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, sir.